Look, I know, Age of Calamity isn't exactly Breath of the Wild. I totally get where you're coming from. I honestly think that this is one of the things that I'm not really clear on in some of my most recent videos, so I apologize for that. It does, however, have a lot of similar qualities to it that the original Hyrule Warriors did not have. Today, I'd like to have a conversation with you about the things I feel that I should probably sort out for you on the game, as well as things you should probably know before you sink endless hours of gameplay into Age of Calamity on November 20th. All of this coming up. Hi, welcome to Zelda Theory. I'm Derek, and if this is your first time seeing my content, my channel is focused on the Legend of Zelda series. I like to consider myself, honestly, just a Zelda fan who enjoys making content for other Zelda fans. Videos here will consist of Breath of the Wild 2 theories, 100% walkthroughs, Zelda gaming lists, as well as Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity videos, just like the video you clicked on, so be sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications for new Zelda content every single week. I really hope that if this video makes you laugh, makes you think, or changes your perspective, that you would share this video with your Zelda homies. Let's continue to build the best Zelda empire together. So the first thing I would like to clear up is that I totally get and understand that Age of Calamity is just another hack and slash yada yada yada, just like the first Hyrule Warriors. I'm here to tell you that this game is not even in the same league as the first one. Hear me out, man. Hyrule Warriors was an installment in the Legend of Zelda series that pretty much threw every single character in the Zelda series that we loved so much into one game and allowed you and I to demolish hordes upon hordes of familiar enemies throughout the Zelda series. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed every single minute. Age of Calamity is different, and here's why. This game is 100% confirmed to be a prequel to Breath of the Wild. I know this seems obvious, but I do have a lot of you on my channel that just don't understand this. Age of Calamity is going to detail the events that happened 100 years prior to the events that happened in Breath of the Wild. Like I said, I get it that this game is just another hack and slash, but it's so much more than that to me. So now that we touched on that, let's jump into the story of Age of Calamity. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity follows the events that occurred 100 years before the critically acclaimed Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, allowing you and I to experience the fight against Calamity Ganon firsthand. King Rhoam, Zelda's father, sends Link and Zelda on a quest to unite the different races of Hyrule. The game's narrative elements are still pretty much unknown for the most part. Other than what was indirectly covered in Breath of the Wild, there will be much for players to learn about the history of Hyrule. The game will allow you to live through the memories that you searched endlessly for in Nintendo's previous open world title. Nintendo wasn't alone on developing the prequel to Breath of the Wild. They were in cahoots with the developers Koei Tecmo, and I don't know if I said that right, so forgive me. They did this to make sure that Breath of the Wild was being done justice in areas such as, the gameplay, the graphics, the world, and all dialogue, according to a certain producer of the game. Now, as a longtime Zelda fan, just knowing that developers have worked closely with a development team at Koei Tecmo means even more to me, and it makes me super excited for November 20th when this game actually releases. So let's jump into the gameplay a little bit. Now, at its core, as I said at the beginning of this video, Age of Calamity is a hack and slash style action adventure game featuring the quote-unquote 1000-to-1 style combat. The large-scale combat style is enhanced by unique weapons and abilities between characters that promote freedom of play. The Hyrule Warriors series is known for being an over-the-top horde-slaying spectacle. Although you won't be able to freely explore Hyrule in this title, the mission-based gameplay certainly suits the narrative way more. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity definitely has a sense of urgency woven into the story. From the start, you're going to realize that there's a war going on and that they have to help Hyrule overcome their enemies. Obviously, in this game, Link isn't going to be able to wander around Hate No Village helping the local farmers find his chickens. The different mission locations are shown throughout the map of Hyrule, which seems to be easy to interact with. During missions, players will follow objectives with the freedom to destroy enemies in any way they wish, to an extent. The flashy combos and abilities that one can string together will lead to engaging combat and extremely satisfying KO streaks. The game seeks to maintain the feel of Breath of the Wild's smooth and varied combat. While maintaining what made Breath of the Wild's combat great, Koei Tecmo sprinkles in aspects that made their Dynasty Warriors series great in its own right. Now I do want to touch on this point, and that is the characters, and the characters we're going to be controlling in Age of Calamity. To me, one of the most exciting parts of this title is the addition of multiple different playable characters. During Link's quest to unite the kingdoms of Hyrule, he meets multiple heroes, which we know to be the champions of Hyrule, each set on their own set of character-specific movesets. So up to this point, we know that the following characters will be included in Age of Calamity. Obviously, we have Link. Link has a big part to play in the game's story. Most likely, he will be the first controllable character while battling through the kingdoms of Hyrule to recruit others. Second, we have Zelda, and despite her name being central to the franchise, Zelda isn't usually a playable character. In Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, you can use runes like Magnesis, Cryonis, and the remote bombs to string together unconventional combos. We have Daruk as well, the champion of the Gorons, and lovable hard-hitting bruiser archetype. Players can equip Daruk's legendary Boulder Breaker. The gameplay trailer shows his protection and fire element abilities, elemental abilities being surprisingly common among Hyrule champions. Mipha is also playable. The Princess of the Zora will also be a playable character, wielding a spear, and her ability is to manipulate water based on the trailers of Age of Calamity. Revali, the brash, bow-wielding champion of the Rito tribe, will allow us to engage from a distance and use different arrows. Revali will be able to command wind and use arrows infused with ice, fire, as well as explosives. Urbosa, Queen of the Gerudo, Urbosa weaves lightning in between and into her attacks. Brandishing the Thunder Helm, a cherished Gerudo artifact, she charges up her lightning meter to combo enemies and bosses. Lastly, we have the almighty Impa, member of the Sheikah race and the servant of the goddess. Impa has a high-flying ninja-like moveset. Impa wields the kunai and the nagina in her acrobatic combat sequences. Like Zelda, Impa also weaves runes in between her attacks. Now, Breath of the Wild's combat was special, plain, and simple. With this title, Nintendo is doubling down on the combat and pushing the limits beyond what fans are familiar with. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity isn't the sequel we were promised, but it's sure to scratch the itch in the meantime. I wasn't really a die-hard fan of the Hyrule Warriors series, and it definitely has a niche of its own audience. However, seeing my favorite Nintendo title in the news again, Age of Calamity is slowly but surely climbing up on my games to play of the year. Zelda fans are going to have to keep waiting until the 20th, but thankfully, rushing out content was never Nintendo's thing. So I hope you truly found value in our conversation here today, my friends. I sincerely hope that if this video made you laugh, made you think, or made you change your perspective, that you would share this video with a friend, have them check out the other Zelda content on the channel as well. This will not only help grow the channel, but also will provide value to more Zelda fans. Again, I cannot thank you enough for your continued support. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, turn on all notifications, continue to be the light, and remember, it's dangerous to go alone. Let's talk soon.